Natalie Wood, a luminous star of Hollywood's golden era, captivated audiences with her beauty, talent, and versatile acting in classics like Rebel Without a Cause, West Side Story, and Splendour in the Grass. Her sudden and mysterious death at the age of 43 on November 29, 1981, remains one of Hollywood's most enduring enigmas. Found drowned near her yacht, the Splendour, off the coast of Catalina Island, Wood's passing sparked an investigation rife with unanswered questions and speculation. On board the yacht that fateful night were her husband, actor Robert Wagner, her co-star Christopher Walken, and the yacht's captain, Dennis Davern. What was meant to be a relaxing holiday turned into a tragic and perplexing event, as conflicting accounts and troubling evidence left many wondering what truly happened during Wood's final hours. Initial investigations ruled her death an accidental drowning, but new testimonies and forensic reevaluations have since cast doubt on this conclusion. Over 4 decades later, the case remains shrouded in mystery, with renewed inquiries and shifting narratives keeping public and media interest alive. Natalie Wood's life and tragic end continue to fascinate. Posing the haunt in the Thanksgiving weekend of 1981 was meant to be a serene escape for Natalie Wood, her husband Robert Wagner, and their guests aboard the Splendour, their 60-foot yacht. Accompanying them were Wood's then co-star Christopher Walken, with whom she was working on the sci-fi thriller Brainstorm, and the yacht's captain, Dennis Davern. Anchored off the picturesque Catalina Island, the group looked forward to a relaxing few days away from the hustle of Hollywood. The weekend began typically, with the group enjoying the island's charm and the solace of the sea. On Saturday, November 28th, they dined at Doug's Harbor Reef, a popular local restaurant. Throughout the evening, they consumed considerable amounts of wine, enhancing the evening's joviality, but also setting the stage for the night's unfolding drama. Returning to the Splendour, tensions reportedly began to rise. Accounts of the evening suggest a volatile mix of alcohol-fueled emotions and underlying frictions. Davern later claimed that there was a heated argument between Wagner and Wood, with Wagner allegedly accusing Walken of encouraging Wood to prioritize her career over her family. This accusation reportedly led to a confrontation between the two men, exacerbating the tension. As the night progressed, the atmosphere on the yacht grew increasingly tense. Wagner admitted in his autobiography to having a terrible argument with Wood. The specifics of what occurred next remain murky and are clouded by varying and often conflicting accounts. What is clear is that, sometime during the night, Natalie Wood went missing. What really happened that night on the dark waters near Catalina Island? In the early hours of November 29, 1981, a fog of uncertainty enveloped the tranquil waters near Catalina Island. By 1:30 a.m., the atmosphere aboard the Splendour had turned from tense to alarmed as Robert Wagner and Dennis Davern discovered Natalie Wood was missing. The eerie quiet was broken by the realization that neither Wood nor the yacht's small inflatable dinghy, the Valiant, were aboard. Panic set in quickly. Despite the late hour and darkness, the crew and passengers on the Splendour began a frantic search of the surrounding area. Wagner, initially believing Wood might have taken the dinghy to shore, and Davern, who was growing increasingly worried, radioed the harbor patrol for assistance. The call was made around 3:30 a.m., but it would be several more hours before any concrete action was taken. At first light, around 6 a.m., the search intensified with the involvement of the Coast Guard. Helicopters and boats scoured the coastline and nearby waters, combing for any sign of Wood or the dinghy. The small vessel was eventually found around 8 a.m., beached not far from the Splendour. Its outboard motor was off, and its paddles were still attached, a silent witness to the night's mysterious events. Shortly after the discovery of the dinghy, the search team came upon a heart-wrenching sight. At approximately 8 a.m., Natalie Wood's body was found floating face down in the calm, cool waters of a small cove known as Blue Cavern Point, about a mile from where the Splendour was anchored. She was wearing a red down jacket, a nightgown, and wool socks, clothing that would have made swimming nearly impossible. Her striking features, now lifeless, were a stark contrast to the vibrant persona she had embodied on screen. The discovery of Wood's body marked the beginning of a complex and often bewildering investigation. Los Angeles County Sheriff's detectives arrived to piece together the circumstances that led to her tragic end. Initial assessments suggested she had fallen into the water and drowned, but questions immediately arose about how a woman with such a profound fear of water could end up in such a dire situation. The autopsy conducted by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office revealed that Wood had sustained several bruises on her arms, legs, and face, and there were superficial abrasions on her body. However, these injuries were deemed consistent with a fall into the water and the subsequent struggle to stay afloat. The official cause of death was recorded as accidental drowning, with contributing factors of alcohol consumption and the impact of hypothermia. Her blood alcohol level was found to be 0.14%, above the legal driving limit, indicating she was significantly impaired at the time of her death. The coroner's report also noted the presence of a motion sickness medication and a painkiller in her system, which could have further impaired her ability to react and survive. Yet, the presence of these bruises, combined with her intense fear of water, fueled ongoing doubts about whether her death was truly accidental. Friends and family were devastated by the loss. Robert Wagner, grappling with profound grief and shock, struggled to provide a coherent narrative of the events leading up to Wood's disappearance. Christopher Walken, who had been largely a bystander during the evening's turmoil, was equally stunned. He later expressed sorrow and bewilderment, emphasizing that no one on the yacht could have anticipated such a tragic outcome. Captain Dennis Davern's initial statements aligned with the accidental drowning theory, but his subsequent accounts introduced troubling inconsistencies. Over time, he suggested that the atmosphere on the yacht had been far more contentious than initially described and insinuated that Wagner's actions may have delayed the search and rescue efforts. In the aftermath of the discovery, the media descended on Catalina Island, and the story of Natalie Wood's drowning became front-page news. Public fascination with the case was immediate and intense, partly due to Wood's iconic status and the high-profile nature of those involved. The unfolding narrative was filled with elements of mystery, tragedy, and scandal, components that would sustain public interest for decades. Despite the coroner's findings and the initial conclusion of accidental drowning, lingering questions and the shifting testimonies of those on board the Splendour have kept the mystery of Natalie Wood's death alive. The discovery of her body marked the end of a beloved actress's life, but also the beginning of a saga that would continue to perplex and captivate the world. In November 2011, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department unexpectedly reopened the investigation into Natalie Wood's 1981 drowning. This decision, made nearly 30 years after her death, was prompted by new evidence and evolving witness testimonies that questioned the original conclusion of accidental drowning. Captain Dennis Davern, who had previously supported the initial findings, came forward with a revised account. He suggested that Wood's husband, Robert Wagner, may have been involved in an altercation with her before her disappearance and alleged that Wagner delayed the search efforts. The reopening of the case led to a comprehensive re-examination of existing evidence and witness statements. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office also amended Wood's death certificate in 2012, changing the cause of death to drowning and other undetermined factors. This shift highlighted the lingering uncertainties and fueled renewed public and media interest in the enduring mystery of Natalie Wood's tragic end. Robert Wagner's status as a person of interest. In 2018, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department named Robert Wagner, Natalie Wood's husband, as a person of interest in their ongoing investigation into her 1981 drowning. This significant development marked a dramatic shift in the case, reigniting public interest and media scrutiny on Wagner's role in the tragic events that led to Wood's death. Initial investigation and Wagner's role. When Natalie Wood's body was discovered off Catalina Island in 1981, Wagner was immediately thrust into the center of the investigation as her distraught husband. He provided his version of the events leading up to her disappearance, describing a heated argument with Wood before she vanished. According to Wagner, he believed that Wood had taken the yacht's dinghy, the Valiant, to shore after their dispute, only to realize hours later that she was missing. Despite being central to the events of that night, Wagner was never formally considered a suspect during the initial investigation. The coroner's report ruled Wood's death as accidental drowning, attributing it to her consumption of alcohol and the possibility that she slipped while attempting to resecure the dinghy. This conclusion, while accepted officially, left room for doubt and speculation, especially given Wood's well-known fear of water and her poor swimming ability. Changing testimonies and new focus. Over the years, the narrative surrounding Wood's death began to shift, largely due to the evolving statements from Dennis Davern, the captain of the yacht Splendour. Initially, Davern supported the accidental drowning conclusion but later recanted, suggesting a more sinister scenario. In his revised accounts, Davern claimed that Wagner and Wood had a violent altercation on the night of her death, and that Wagner delayed reporting her missing and hindered search efforts. In various interviews and his book, Goodbye Natalie, Goodbye Splendour, Davern painted a picture of a tumultuous and volatile atmosphere on the yacht. He alleged that after the argument, Wagner instructed him not to alert authorities immediately, a critical delay that potentially impacted the chances of saving Wood. These allegations and the subsequent public pressure prompted the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to re-examine the case. The 2011 reopening of the investigation led to further scrutiny of Wagner's actions and statements. In 2018, the Sheriff's Department's decision to name Wagner as a person of interest reflected their belief that he had critical information about Wood's death that had not been fully disclosed or explored. Enduring mystery. Tragically, Natalie Wood's life was cut short on November 29, 1981, under circumstances that remain shrouded in mystery. Her death, initially ruled as accidental drowning, has sparked decades of speculation and investigation. The reopening of the case in 2011 and subsequent developments have kept her story in the public eye, reinforcing the intrigue surrounding her legacy. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the captivating and complex life of Natalie Wood. Her incredible talent, iconic status, and the enduring mystery of her tragic death continue to intrigue and inspire. We hope this video provided a deeper understanding of her legacy and the profound impact she left on Hollywood. If you enjoyed this content, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more stories about fascinating figures and untold Hollywood tales. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. See you next time.